Hi, all JEE NEET 2021 aspirants and the students who wrote NEET 2020 examination. I glad to share you that 10 most closely related questions from our poll questions which are posted as JEE NEET 2020 special on our ChemMaster official YouTube channel or appeared in NEET 2020 examination. That's why I always suggest you that follow ChemMaster official content on JEE and NEET examinations. We guarantee that we are going to provide the chemistry to make you score 100% from chemistry part in JEE NEET 2021 examinations. So if you did not subscribe our channel, just do subscribe, like the video and share the video. And I always suggest you that watch the video completely to get the related conceptual analysis on each and every question, which helps you a lot in solving the related questions in upcoming examinations. Okay, right, are you ready? Now we are going to look at the first question. Sucrose on hydrolysis. So simply on hydrolysis, sucrose produces alpha D glucose and beta D fructose. That's why here option 2 is the correct answer. Okay, then just have the command on the structures of monosaccharides and polysaccharides. So the important monosaccharides here we can say glucose and fructose. The important polysaccharide here is sucrose. Okay, just have practice on Fischer projections and their chair conformations. Okay, right, and sometimes they may given with their structures or chair conformations. That's why here it is important to practice their Fischer and chair conformations, Fischer projections and chair conformations. Okay, right, now try to draw the structure of sucrose. Okay, how alpha D glucose and beta D fructose produced from the hydrolysis of sucrose. Okay, now we can see, if you practice many times, you can draw just like me with ease. Okay, right. So here is the OH. So here CH2 OH. Now this is the structure of sucrose. On hydrolysis, so simply sucrose produces glucose and fructose. We know that. I'm just drawing the substituent which is breaked in hydrolysis. Okay, so that's why here we can draw OH. Okay, just do the remaining substituents or just draw on the given chair conformation. Now this is fructose. Okay, so here CH2 OH and here is the OH. Okay, now why we are calling it is alpha D glucose and why it is beta? So simply, if you look at this glucose, we can start numbering from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and here 6. Okay, on this fructose we can start from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, now so the first carbon on glucose is considered as alpha carbon. Okay, and here, so just look at fructose. So the alpha carbon is this one and beta carbon is this one. That's why we are saying alpha D glucose and beta D fructose. And here is a question for you, why we are added D here? So what is the information about D and L notations here? Okay, so try to know and if you can't, you can comment on this video, I will explain it. Okay, right. So on hydrolysis of sucrose, we get alpha D glucose and beta D fructose. So second option is the correct answer. Next question. Elimination reaction of 2-bromopentane. Now first draw the structure from the given IUPAC name. I always tell you that IUPAC name nomenclature is very important for JEE and NEET examination. Okay, so one should have strong command on IUPAC rules. Then only you can draw the correct structure of 2-bromopentane. Okay, now so we can say 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. At the second carbon we have bromine. So this is 2-bromopentane. So what he said, on elimination 2-bromopentane produced pent2E. Okay, so by just using the IUPAC name, we need to draw the correct structure. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. You can see at second carbon we have the double bond. That's why pent2E. Okay, so how this product is produced? So simply if we take a base, I'm just taking alkoxide. Okay, the alkoxide abstract the acidic protons. Here you can see two possible acidic protons, or two different acidic protons can be seen. Okay, so the alkoxide can abstract proton from this and produces the product as given here. So when this base abstract this acidic proton, the bond electrons moves here, then bromine cleaves as Br minus. In total, HBr cleaves from it and produces pent2E as the major product. Okay, right. Here you can see that the elimination takes place in a single step. The base abstract proton and the bond electrons moves here and bromine cleaves in a single step. That's why we consider this elimination reaction as E2 elimination reaction. Okay, right. And so you can see that if the same base abstract proton from this terminal end, so if it abstract the acidic proton from this terminal end, then the product will be 1-pentene like this, which is minor product here. Okay, right. Now just look at the statements. The elimination which was taking place here in this reaction considered as beta elimination reaction. Is it correct or wrong? So simply it is the correct statement, because you can see we can give alpha to the carbon which is connected with this halogen. Then the second carbon must be beta carbon. Okay, that's why it is a beta elimination reaction. Now, is it following Zaitsev rule or not? You can see the product is 2, or simply say pent2E, where you can see that highly branched alkene is produced. So according to Zaitsev rule, high branched alkene is going to produce from that elimination reaction as a major product. Okay, that's why the second statement, that means the given elimination reaction is also following Zaitsev rule. So second statement is also the correct one. Now just look at the third statement, where dehydrohalogenation reaction. You can see hydrogen and halogen both are eliminating from that substrate. That's why we can call it as dehydrohalogenation reaction. That's why the third statement is also the correct one. Now just look at the fourth one, dehydration reaction. What is the meaning of dehydration? So simply the loss of water. For example, in a reaction water eliminates, we can call it as dehydration reaction. But here the eliminated product is, what is it? Simply hydrohalogen. That means simply we can say HBr. Okay, so dehydrohalogenation takes place. Okay, so A, B, C are the correct statements and fourth option is our answer. Okay, right. Next one. The number of Faraday required to produce 20 grams of calcium from molten CaCl2. Here we have given the mass of atomic mass of calcium as 40 gram per mole. Okay, right. And now you can see the molten calcium, that means which is in ionic form. So that is Ca plus 2. Okay, here calcium is in plus 2 and each chlorine with minus. That's why calcium is in plus 2 oxidation state. By taking up 2 electrons, it produces calcium metal. We know that calcium metal, already here we have given that the atomic mass of calcium is 40 grams per mole. That means here 1 mole of calcium plus 2 by taking 2 electrons producing 1 mole, or we can say 40 grams of calcium. Okay, right. Now here the electricity is required to produce 40 grams of calcium from that 1 mole of calcium plus 2 equals to 2 Faraday, because each electron produces 1 Coulombic energy, 1 Faraday of energy. So that's why 2 electrons should be equals to 2 Faraday here. Okay, now we can write the electricity required to produce 40 grams of calcium should be equals to 2 Faraday. Then for 20 grams of calcium, to produce 20 grams of calcium, how many Faraday are required? This is the question. Okay, so here the electricity required to produce 20 grams of calcium should be equals to 2 into 20 by 40 Faraday. So from that you can get 1 Faraday, and our answer is the fourth one. Okay, right. Next question. An element has a body-centered cubic structure with a cell edge length of 288 picometer. The atomic radius is. So here we have given with BCC with edge length, that is A equals to 288 picometer. Now we need to here remind the relation between the atomic radius and edge length of that unit cell atom. Okay, so simply for the BCC, which equals to, that means the atomic radius R equals to under root 3A by 4. So just substitute A value here. So under root 3 by 4 into 288 picometer. Now the fourth option is the correct answer. Now just remember, for the simple cubic, the relation between atomic radius and edge length as A equals to 2 into R. For BCC cubic unit cell, under root 3A equals to 4 into R. For FCC, under root 2A equals to 4 into R. For HCP, A equals to 2 into R. Okay, just remember all of this. They will be helpful for you. You may get the questions on different cubic cell, unit cell, okay, to find the same kind of question. Okay, right. Now, the next question here. HCl was passed through a solution of CaCl2, MgCl2 and NaCl. Which of the following compound crystallizes? The answer is only NaCl. We can see why only NaCl, why not CaCl2 and MgCl2. Now, when you take NaCl solid, okay, when you take NaCl solid in water, then it produces ions as Na plus and Cl minus. Okay, right. Now, when you add HCl to the given aqueous media of NaCl, then HCl produces ions as H plus and Cl minus. Okay, so in that reaction mixture, you can see the common ion Cl minus, that is chloride ion, is there. Whenever the concentration of products here, the concentration of ions, that is Cl minus, increases, then the equilibrium shift towards the reactant side, that is NaCl solid. So when you add HCl, due to the common ion effect of chloride ion, the NaCl is recrystallized because of equilibrium shift towards NaCl solid. Okay, so simply it is an application of Lee-Chatelier principle. Okay, right. Now just look at MgCl2 and CaCl2. So MgCl2 and CaCl2 are considering as dehydrating agents. They are a strong dehydrating agents. Dehydrating agent means simply they uptake water molecules or they simply drag water molecules. So when you take MgCl2 and CaCl2 with that HCl, that is aqueous HCl, okay, so the MgCl2 and CaCl2 abstract or simply absorb all the water molecules from that HCl, and the HCl gas is released into surroundings. Okay, that means here is a formation of MgCl2 6H2O and CaCl2 6H2O in that reaction mixture. That means magnesium chloride and CaCl2 are not going to crystallize when you add HCl to it, aqueous HCl to it, or commercial or 30% HCl to it, because they are acting as a strong desiccating agents or dehydrating agents. Okay, right. And next question. Find out the solubility of nickel hydroxide in 0.1 m NaOH, given that the ionic product of nickel hydroxide is given as 2 into 10 power minus 1/5. Now try to draw the equilibrium reaction of nickel hydroxide with its ions. So it produces nickel plus 2 plus 2OH minus. Okay, right. Now just consider the solubility of this nickel as X moles. Okay, now if it is X moles, then the hydroxide solubility must be the sum of, so here the concentration we can say 0.1 m, okay, and X moles. So here 2 moles of hydroxide, that's why here you need to take 2x plus 0.1 m of OH minus. Okay, now the ionic product, here just say solubility product equals to the product of concentrations of ions, here the cation and anion. So just take here the ionic product is given as 2 into 10 power minus 1/5. Then so for that nickel plus 2 ion solubility, we have considered that X moles. So X into, for that OH minus, it is 2x plus 0.1 power 2, because here 2 moles of hydroxide groups are there. Okay, and if you look at this term where the 2x is very much small than 0.1 molar concentration, so in that case we can neglect 2x. Okay, that's why here just consider 0.1, so 0.1 square, so here you will get 0.01x. Okay, 0.01 into x, which equals to 2 into 10 power minus 1/5. Now x equals to, you will get 2 into 10 power minus 1/3 m. So this is the solubility, 2 into 10 power minus 1/3 m. So fourth option is the correct answer. Okay, right. And next question. For the reaction, two atomic chlorine atomic chlorine gases reacting to produce molecular chlorine. Okay, right. Now, so the atoms here, 2 chlorines are just involving in a reaction to make a bond, Cl and Cl. That means a new bond is formed, a new sigma bond is formed here. So bond formation taking place in this reaction, that's why energy is being released. So delta H, that is the enthalpy change, always negative for this reaction. Okay, here you can see the atoms are reacting to produce a molecule with a bond, a new bond. So that's why whenever the bond formation takes place, energy released. So the enthalpy change must be negative. Okay, right. And at the same time, 2 moles of atoms of chlorine are combined to produce 1 mole of chlorine gas or Cl2 molecule. Okay, so in this case, the number of atoms decreased from reactants to products. So whenever the number of gaseous atoms decreases, then the entropy decreases. That's why the entropy change is also less than 0. Okay, the entropy change is also less than 0, and from this case you can see delta H must be less than 0 and delta S must be less than 0. So option 3 is the correct answer. Got it? Next question. Which of the following is the correct order of increasing field strength of ligands to form coordination compounds? So the correct order here is SCN minus to F minus and C2O4 minus 2, and here minus 2, just do it, okay, and Cn minus. So Cn minus is having highest field strength, a ligand field strength, because Cn is an pi accepting ligand. So just remember that pi donor ligands in spectrochemical series are the weakest ligands, or they induce weak field strength. Okay, right. And the pi acceptor ligands or the ligands with strong field strength. Okay, they leads to strong field nature to the complex. Okay, so based on this simple concept, you can say that here Cn minus is an pi accepting ligand. That's why it should have highest field strength, and SCN minus is having the least one. Okay, so just try to look at the spectrochemical series, and in the most cases you should remember that spectrochemical series. Then only you can give the correct order, because the most of the order is not in a perfect way in which we can explain with some factors. Okay, right. Next question. The calculated spin only magnetic moment of Cr plus 2 ion is. So for D black elements, we can use the formula, that is to calculate spin only magnetic moment as n into n plus 2 under root n into n plus 2 Bohr magnetons. So here n indicating number of electrons here, okay, number of unpaired electrons here for that chromium plus 2. So for chromium plus 2, so simply it is having D4, because the chromium is having D5 S1 valence electronic configuration. In its plus 2 oxidation state, it is having only 4 electrons in it. So in its d orbital, in its degenerate d orbital, we can see 4 unpaired electrons. That's why 4 into 4 plus 2 Bohr magneton, which equals to 4.90. So option 1 is the correct answer. Okay, so just remember this formula, then you can calculate spin only magnetic moments. Next question. Which of the following set of molecules will have zero dipole moment? So here we need to know the structures of the given molecules. If we know the structures of them, we can give the answer quickly. So BF3 is a planar molecule. So in this planar molecule, you can see the dipole vectors are cancelling each other. That's why the dipole moment is 0 for it. Okay, and next one is given HF. So hydrofluoride, in which fluorine is more electronegative than hydrogen. That's why the bond electrons are always dragged towards fluorine. Okay, in this case, the dipole moment is not equal to 0 for this. And next one, carbon dioxide. You can see carbon dioxide is in linear shape, and the two oxygens drag electrons towards them. That's why the dipole vectors are cancelling each other. In that case, mu equals to 0 for this carbon dioxide. Now just look at 1,3-dichlorobenzene. So this is 1,3-dichlorobenzene. On this you can see the vectors are not cancelling each other. That's why the dipole moment is not equal to 0 for it. And the next one, NF3. So here NF3 is in pyramidal shape with the lone pair of electrons on nitrogen. In this case, the lone pair of electrons, the vector is just moves to a lone pair of electrons, and other three vectors are moving towards fluorines, more electronegative fluorines. That's why the dipole moment is also not equal to 0 for this NF3. Okay, right. And the next one, beryllium difluoride. So beryllium difluoride is in a linear shape or linear geometry. Okay, so in this case you can see 180 degrees. So where the dipole vectors cancel each other, then mu equals to 0 for it. Okay, and next we have given ammonia. Ammonia is in pyramidal shape with lone pair of electrons on nitrogen, and in this case, so the dipole vectors just move like this towards more electronegative atoms, and here which is not equal to 0. Okay, for this ammonia. And next we have given with 1,4 a water molecule. Okay, for that water molecule we know that water molecule is in V shape, and the dipole vectors just move like this, and they are not equal to 0 because here we have lone pair of electrons which just move like this. Okay, so here mu not equal to 0. And now we have given with 1,4 dichlorobenzene. In this the vectors are cancelling each other. In this case mu equals to 0. Okay, so from all this analysis we can simply conclude that third option is the correct one. Boron type fluoride, beryllium difluoride, carbon dioxide, and 1,4 dichlorobenzene having 0 dipole moment. Okay, right. The next question. So the following metal ion activates many enzymes, participates in the oxidation of glucose to produce ATP, and with Na is responsible for the transmission of nerve signals. Okay, so simply sodium Na plus and potassium plus are very important in the nerve signaling. Okay, so simply potassium is the correct answer. So no need of further explanation of it. And now just look at the next question. An alkene on ozonolysis gives methanol as one of the product. Its structure is. So just look at this. So here CH2, CH2 and CH3. On ozonolysis the cleavage takes place here. Okay, then here is the carbonyl group. So here is the carbonyl group. You cannot going to produce methanol. That's why we can eliminate the first one and also third one, because they are going to produce aldehydes or carboxylic acid based on the oxidizing or reducing agents along with that ozone hydrolysis. Now just look at the second one. On this second one, so here CH2, CH double bond, CH2. On ozonolysis, you will going to produce CH2, C double bond OH, and here CH2 double bond O. Okay, so we can call it as formaldehyde or methanol. Okay, so that's why second one or second substrate on ozonolysis produces methanol. Okay, now just try to do here. If ozonolysis takes place here, then one benzaldehyde and one is ethanaldehyde. Okay, so that's why second option is the correct one. Next question, the rate constant for a first order reaction is given. The time required to reduce 2 grams of the reactant to 0.2 grams is. So simply we can take K into T equals to 2.303 log 10 into 2, that is the what we say initial weight by, so that is the final one. So finally here is 0.2 grams. Okay, so from that we have given with K value, just substitute 4.606 into 10 power minus 3 per second into T equals to 2.303 log 10 So 2 by 0.2. Okay, so just do the following other mathematical steps and you will simply get t is equal 1000 by 2, that equals to 500 seconds. So simply second option is the correct answer. Just have a command on all the rate equations from 0 order to nth order. Okay, so just focus on the rate equations. They are very important for JEE and NEET examinations. Okay. Next question, reaction between acetone and methyl magnesium chloride followed by hydrolysis will give. So simply now try to draw the acetone here. So acetone on reacting with methyl magnesium bromide. What is it? Grignard reagent. Okay, so the negative charge on methyl group which is going to attack on electrophilic carbon of that carbonyl acetone. Okay, so here you will get O minus, so here Mg plus Br. Okay, right. Now on hydrolysis, simply it produces tertiary alcohol. You can see tertiary alcohol. So that's why here we can say tertiary butyl alcohol is the correct answer. So second option is our answer. Which of the following is a natural polymer? So simply here cis 1,4 polyisoprene is considered as natural polymer. And do you know isoprene? So it is isoprene with simple formula as C5H8. Now here cis 1,4 polyisoprene is represented as C double bond C, here CH3 and here CH2. So this is cis 1,4 polyisoprene. Okay, right, and it is a natural polymer. So polymers are very important. Just focus on the important polymers. Okay, if you look back at the previous year questions on JEE NEET examination, you will get an idea. So how and which polymers are giving in the examination frequently. Okay, right. The next question, identify the correct statements from the following. Here CO2 gas is used as a refrigerant for ice cream and frozen food. So many students just confuse here. We have given with CO2 gas, so not CO2 gas, the solid CO2 is used as refrigerant and ice cream and also in frozen food. Okay, so the first statement is the wrong one. The structure of C60 fullerene, okay, contains 12 pentagons and 20 hexagons. Okay, that's why here we have given it 12 6 carbons. That's why it is wrong statements. And here ZSM5 is a type of zeolite used to convert alcohol into gasoline. This is the correct statement. And CO is colorless and also odorless. So option C and D are the correct one. So 3 is the correct option. Okay, right. Now the correct option for free expansion of an ideal gas under adiabatic condition. So you need to have the command on isothermal, adiabatic, reversible and reversible conditions and irreversible conditions. Okay, so just focus on them. What is the meaning of adiabatic? That is heat change equals to 0 for that system. So Q equals to 0. So adiabatic simply indicating Q equals to 0. And whenever the heat change is 0, then the change in temperature must be 0. Okay, and in that condition, the work done also should be 0. Okay, so from all these cases, we simply give the option 4th as the correct one. Okay, right. Which of the following oxo acid of sulfur has oxygen linkages? If you see all these questions which we have analyzed, already 4 to 5 questions which are related to our poll questions on ChemMaster Official, you can see. Okay, so that's why I said 10 most related questions are appeared in NEET 2020 examination. So our whole questions are just acting to make you score 100% from chemistry part in JEE NEET examination. That's why follow Chem Master Official regularly, okay, for JEE NEET examination. Already I have given question on this, okay. So here oxygen linkages. So simply the correct answer is H2S2O8. So just try to draw its structure. You can see the peroxide bond is observed here. Okay, so second option is the correct answer. Just try to check the structures of all these examples. Okay, just focus on oxo acids of phosphorus and sulfur. They are very important because you are going to get frequent questions on them. Identify compound X in the following sequence of reactions. So in a first step, what happens? So simply in a first step, here CH3. So Cl2 on photochemical conditions produces chlorine radical. So the chlorine radical abstract one hydrogen from that methyl group, then it produces CH2 radical. So this CH2 radical abstract chlorine and produces here CH2Cl, right? And in the next case, on hydrolysis H2O, what happens? So simply draw the full structure. So just wait. So here you can see NCl. So water can act as nucleophile, right? Water can act as nucleophile and attack here, right? In this case, so sorry, the next step we should go. If you do this, it is not going to produce aldehyde. That's why we should apply the next case. So that is simply do the another by taking up another chlorine radical. So here is the hydrogen. By taking up another proton, here it produces CHCl radical. By taking up another radical, okay, it produces CHC, okay, dichloromethyl. Okay, now we need to add H2. So if you add here, that is as a nucleophile, then one chlorine cleaves from it, okay, and also H plus from this water molecule. In total, HCl cleaves from it. Now here you will have OH and chlorine, okay, and here is the hydrogen. In the next step, loss of HCl takes place, dehydrohalogenation takes place, and then here is the product, that is aldehyde is produced, which is given here. So that's why the second, that means the intermediate X must be the second option only. Okay, so to produce aldehyde, it must be CHCl2. Okay, you can understand by just looking at this, these mechanisms. Okay, right. Next one, the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons in lutetium-177 175. So we can simply say that 71 indicate Z, that is atomic number, and here A, which indicates mass number 175. Okay, and the number of neutrons should be equals to mass number minus atomic number. Okay, mass number minus atomic number. So that's why the atomic number is 71 here, and mass number must be 175 minus atomic number 71, which equals to 104. Okay, and here the next one is number of neutrons and electrons. So electrons equals to number of protons. Okay, that's why it is equals to 71. So number of protons and number of neutrons equals to atomic number of that particular element or atom, and the mass number, which is represented here on the top left end, and number of neutrons equals to mass number minus atomic number. Okay, right. So 71, 104, 71 is the correct answer. Identify the correct statement here, the transition metals and their compounds. So the transition metals and their compounds are known for their catalytic activity due to their ability to adapt multiple acceleration state and to form complexes. So here we need to find incorrect statement. So next one, interstitial compounds are these that are formed when small atoms like Hc, N are trapped inside the crystal lattices of metals. Next one, the acceleration states of chromium in both the given oxides of chromium are not same. And here, chromium plus 2 is a stronger reducing agent than iron plus 2 in its D6 in water. So here you can see that the transition metals and their compounds are known for their catalytic activity due to their ability to adapt multiple acceleration states and to form complexes. This is the correct one. You can see if you look at the 3D series of D-black elements and 3D, 4D and 5D, you can see the acceleration states vary from +1 to +7. Okay, so due to the various acceleration possibilities, the D-black elements or metals can act as catalysts. Okay, so that's why first option is the correct one. Next, interstitial compounds are those that are formed when small atoms, here hydrogen, carbon or nitrogen, are trapped inside those big molecules. So this is the correct statement. Now the third statement, just look at here, CrO4 minus 2. So just consider it as X plus each oxygen minus 2 into 4, because 4 oxygens are there, which should be equals to the total acceleration state minus 2. Now here minus 8 equals to minus 2, X equals to plus 6. So the chromium acceleration state is plus 6. Now just look at the next one, Cr2O7 minus 2. Just consider chromium as X, and how many chromiums are there? 2X plus, and each oxygen minus 2 into how many oxygens are there? 7. It should be equals to minus 2, total acceleration state. Okay, so 2X plus minus 14 equals to minus 2. So 2X equals to 12 and X equals to 6. That means in both of the oxides, chromium is in plus 6 acceleration state only, but the statement is given as the chromium is in or not the same, acceleration states are not the same. That's why third statement is the wrong statement, and that is our answer. Okay, now the fourth statement, chromium plus 2 is a stronger reducing agent than iron plus 2. Is it correct or wrong? You can see chromium plus 2 having 4 electrons in its d orbital. Okay, 1, 2, 3, okay, 4 electrons are there. So here chromium plus 2 in aqueous solution produces chromium, so CrOH2 6, the octahedral complex will be produced. Okay, and in this octahedral complex, so in the presence of ligand field strength, the degenerate d orbital splits into T2G and EG. Okay, and in this EG we have 4 electrons. For example, the chromium plus 2 in its aqueous solution loses 1 electron, it will only have 3 electrons in 3 suborbitals of T2G. So that's why here half-filled nature increases the stability for this chromium plus 3. Okay, in that case, chromium plus 2 ready to lose 1 electron to make it chromium plus 3 in its aqueous solution to be stable. Okay, according to Hund's rule. So in that case, chromium plus 2 is considered as stronger reducing agent. Okay, now if you look at iron plus 2, which is having d6 electrons. Okay, so just wait, iron plus 2, so d6 electrons. In presence of ligand field strength, so simply the octahedral field around this iron plus 2 with the water molecule splits into T2G and EG. So here we have 6 electrons, right? And in the 6 electrons, so you can see all the suborbitals are equally filled. Okay, each suborbital filled with 1 electron, that is completely half filled here. So when we compared with that here chromium plus 2, so the removal of electron is difficult from this iron plus 2. So because whenever it is with strong field ligand, the total 6 electrons are filled up in T2G only, and it is not going to reduce. So based on that environment, so the ligand, based on the ligand strength, so here chromium plus 2 chromium plus 2 is going to act as stronger reducing agent than iron plus 2. Okay, right. Next question. Which of the following is a cationic detergent? So just remember that the cationic detergents are always with quaternary ammonium salts or ammonium compounds. Okay, cationic detergents. Now, anionic detergents always have sulfates and or sulfonates. Okay, now just look at the given options here. We have cetyl, trimethyl, ammonium, bromide. Here ammonium is there, that's why, which is a cationic detergent. You can see sodium dodecyl benzene sulfonate and sodium lauryl sulfate. These two are anionic detergents. Okay, here sodium stearate is a simple soap. Okay, right. So that's why second option is the correct answer. The freezing point depression constant of benzene is given. The freezing point depression for the solution of molality is given here, containing a non-electrolyte solute in benzene. Okay, so we need to find, so here the freezing point depression. So simply we have the formula, that is delta TF equals to, that is freezing point depression, equals to the freezing point constant into molality. So freezing point constant is given 5.12 kg per mole into the molality is given 0.078 m. So from that you will get 0.399, which is approximately equals to 0.40 K. Okay, so second option is the correct answer. Just you need to remember this. If you remind that, you will answer it within seconds. Next question, identify the incorrect match. Now already we have explained how to give the systematic name for the elements which are having atomic numbers more than 100 in the recent video. You can watch it. Okay, so first one, here we have given with unnillium. Un means 1 and nil means 0 and un means 1. Okay, so 101 atomic number. For that 101 atomic number, simply it is Mendelevium. So first matching is the correct one. And now the second one, un means 1 here. So nil means 0 and tri means 3, 103. So for that 103, Lawrencium. So it is also correct matching. Now just look at the third one. Un means 1 and nil means 0 and hex means 6, 106. It is Seaborgium. So that's why third is also the correct match. Now just look at the fourth one. Un means 1 and next un, here is the 1 and next un, here is the 1. So 111 atomic number, which is Roentgenium. So Roentgenium. So, but here we have given with Darmstadtium. That's why the fourth is not the correct matching. Okay, and that is our answer. Next one, the mixture which shows positive deviation from Raoult's law is. So here ethanol and acetone is the correct answer. So it needs the deep conceptual analysis. In very soon we are going to give the conceptual lecture on Raoult's law and deviations of real gases. Okay, right. So stay tuned for that. So here fourth option is the correct answer. Next question. Here, match the following. So we have given the same questions in the poll questions here in our ChemMaster official. So CO, what is CO? So simply CO is a neutral and barium oxide, basic in nature, Al2O3, amphoteric, and Cl2O7, acidic in nature. Okay, and next question, which one of the following has maximum number of atoms? So to give answer for this, we need to look at the atomic numbers, atomic mass of given atoms and molecules. Okay, so which is having least atomic mass? Lithium. So lithium will have maximum number of atoms. So you can understand it why. The answer is 3 by just look at here. So we have magnesium with the atomic number 24. Okay, so number of atoms in 24 grams of magnesium must be equals to 6.023 into 10 power 23. Okay, now so the number of atoms in 1 gram magnesium atom should be equals to 6.023 into 10 power 23 by 24. Okay, so just do the same thing, just do this. Okay, for this oxygen, here O2 is there, that's why 2 into 6.023 into 10 power 23 by the atomic mass of oxygen is 16. Now just do for this lithium, same, only one atom is there, that's why 6.023 into 10 power 23 by the atomic mass of lithium is 7. Now for this silver, here 6.023 into 10 power 23 by the atomic mass of silver is 108. Okay, so just do this, you can see the atomic number of atoms for lithium is highest. So simply whenever the denominator is small, simply we can get the higher number or large number. So that's based on that, we can simply give option 3 as the correct one by just looking at the atomic mass of lithium. That is, the smallest atomic mass will give highest or maximum number of atoms to that 1 gram of atom or molecule. Okay, right. The next question, reaction between benzaldehyde and acetophenone. Okay, the reaction between benzaldehyde and acetophenone in presence of diluted NaOH is known as. Now just try to take the reaction here, the benzaldehyde and acetophenone, C double bond O. So in presence of NaOH base, we have ketone and aldehyde. That's why Kras-Cannizzaro reaction. Okay, so sorry, Kras-Aldol condensation. So Kras-Aldol condensation takes place here. That's why option 3 is the correct one. All these three, that means Cannizzaro reaction, Kras-Cannizzaro reaction, Kras-Aldol and Aldol condensation. All these are very, very important for JEE and NEET examination. So just focus on them. Okay, right. And next one, a tertiary butyl carbocation is more stable than secondary butyl carbocation because of, here you can see the tertiary butyl. Okay, so the tertiary butyl carbocation. Now the secondary butyl carbocation. You can see 9 hyperconjugations are possible for this tertiary, 6 hyperconjugations are possible for this secondary. So whenever the hyperconjugation increases, stability also increases. Same question given in our whole questions, you can see. Okay, so that's why hyperconjugation is the correct answer for the given problem. Next one, which of the following is not correct about carbon monoxide? So here you can see, it reduces oxygen carrying ability of blood. This is the correct statement. The carboxyhemoglobin is less stable than oxyhemoglobin. This is absolutely wrong. The carbon monoxide has the great affinity to the hemoglobin when we compared with oxygen. So that's why it will produce the stable complex with oxygen as carboxyhemoglobin. Okay, so the second statement is the wrong one. It is produced due to incomplete combustion. It is correct one. It forms carboxyhemoglobin. It is also the correct statement. So our answer is the second one. Okay, right. Next question, which of the following is a basic amino acid? Already we have poll questions on the similar kind of poll questions. You can see So I always suggest you that you need to practice all the 20 natural amino acid structures, okay, and you need to know the number of basic amino acids, number of acidic amino acids, number of neutral amino acids, number of cationic amino acids, number of anionic amino acids, okay, and also focus on the number of aromatic amino acids and number of heteroatom containing or hetero ring containing amino acids. Okay, so you may get the diff questions based on these concepts from amino acids. Okay, right, and the correct answer for this problem is lysine. Okay, so lysine is a basic amino acid. Try to check their structures. You can find the nature of them. Okay, next one. Urea reacts with water to form A, which will decompose to form B. B when passed through copper plus 2 aqueous solution, deep blue color solution C is formed. What is the formula of C from the following? Now here just try to draw the reaction here. This is urea. So what is saying here? Urea on hydrolysis. Okay, so urea on hydrolysis produces ammonia and NH2 C double bond OH. So how? The lone pair of electrons on oxygen, that is here water acts as nucleophile and going to attack on it. So in the next step, elimination of ammonia takes place. Okay, one H plus from this water, NH2 from here. So total NH3 is eliminated. Okay, and this is the product B. On B, here it is A. So urea reacts with water to form A. So it is A, which will decompose to B. On decomposition of this, it produces ammonia and carbon dioxide. So here ammonia is B. Okay, so the B is going to react with Cu plus 2 aqueous solution. Now copper plus 2 reacts with ammonia, right, and produces here CuNH3,4 plus 2. That's why option 1 is the correct answer. Okay, right. The next question, a mixture of N2 and here argon gases in a cylinder containing 7 grams of N2 and 8 grams of argon. The total pressure of the mixture of the gases in the cylinder is 24 bar. The partial pressure of N2 is. So here first we need to find the number of moles of each nitrogen and argon gas. So here we have given it 7 grams of N2. So which should be equals to 0.25 moles, because we know that moles equals to weight in grams by molar mass. Okay, so from that you can get 0.25 for this N2. Now 8 grams of argon will produce 0.2 moles. Okay, right. Now the total pressure is given as, so the total pressure is given as 15 bar. Okay, right. Now the partial pressure equals to the mole fraction of N2 into the total pressure. So the mole fraction of N2 should be equals to the number of moles of N2, 0.25 by total moles, 0.25 plus 0.2 moles. Okay, now just substitute here 0.25 by 0.45 into the total pressure is 27 bar. Okay, sorry, here 27 bar. Okay, total pressure 27 bar, just take it. So you can get the answer 15 bar. Okay, right. The next question, identify the correct statement from the following. Blister copper has blistered appearance due to evaluation of CO2. Is it correct or wrong? Absolutely wrong, because the blistered appearance of blister copper is just due to the evaluation of sulfur dioxide, not CO2. Okay, now just look at the second one. Vapor phase refining is carried out for nickel by Van Arkel method. This is absolutely wrong. Van Arkel method is generally applicable for zirconium, not nickel. Okay, pig iron can be molded into variety of shapes. It is the correct statement. And now wrought iron is impure iron with 4% carbon. It is also absolutely wrong because wrought iron contains the less amount of carbon, nearly 0.008 percentage, and cast iron contain almost 4 percentage of carbon in it. That's why here we can eliminate first option, second option, and fourth option, and third option is the correct answer. Okay. Next one, hydrolysis of sucrose is given by the following reaction: sucrose plus water producing glucose plus fructose. If the equilibrium constant is given at 300 Kelvin, the value of delta Z minus at the same temperature will be. So here we have the relation of delta G with equilibrium constant as minus RT ln K equilibrium. Okay. Now R is a gas constant value, that is 8.314 joule per mole per Kelvin into, so here the temperature is 300 Kelvin into, so here just take the ln value here, the K equilibrium value here is given as 2 into 10 power 13. Okay, 10 power 13. So simply minus 8.314 into 300 into ln, so sorry, 300 into ln 2 in 10 power 13. So fourth option is the correct one. Okay, right. And the next question, identify a molecule which doesn't exist. So already same provocation is given on our ChemMaster official YouTube channel, you can check it. Okay, now simply helium is the correct answer because we can use MOD, molecular orbital diagram, and from that we can find bond order. Bond order equals to half into number of electrons in bonding molecular orbital minus number of electrons in anti-bonding molecular orbital. So here 4 electrons are there in helium. The total 4 electrons are involving in it in making of helium molecule. That's why here 2 electrons in ground state and 2 electrons in excited state. So in this case 1 by 2 into 2 minus 2. So that's why equals to 0. Whenever bond order equals to 0, then there will be no bond between 2 helium. That's why helium molecule or diatomic helium is not existed. Okay, right, and that is our answer. Next question, an increase in the concentration of the reactants of reaction leads to change in, so simply heat of reaction. Okay, so simple, this is the simple question. Whenever increase in the concentration of the reactants of reaction, that leads to change in the heat of reaction, right? And from that the reaction products can be produced. And next question, which of the following alkane cannot be made in good yield by Wurtz reaction? So the correct answer is N-heptane, because here just try to take here hexane 1 2 3 4 5 6. So this is the hexane we should be produced. So simply we can start from here. So 2 N bromopropanol, or sorry 1 bromopropane. So 2 moles of 1 bromopropane should be react in Wurtz reaction to produce the final product. But in Wurtz reaction, the reaction mechanism takes place through radical mechanism because metal sodium donates 1 electron only. So in that case, the simply here is a formation of primary radical. Okay, we know that tertiary radical is more stable than secondary, which is more stable than primary. In that case, so here the hydrogen radical cleaves to produce, so okay, so high percentage for this secondary radical because the more stable stability is observed. That's why when you are going to look at for this 1 bromopropanol, in most cases here there is the possibility to make another possible bond making like this. Okay, not simple N-hexane is produced. So that's why the correct one is the second option, because the N-hexane is the N-hexane yield is not in high amount when we produce or synthesize through Wurtz reaction, because other products can be produced. Okay, right. Next question. Which of the following amine will give carbylamine test? So in carbylamine test, primary amines are going to be tested. If an organic compound contains primary amines, they will produce isocyanates. Just note this point, isocyanates as a product. Okay, so here we have primary amine in the fourth option. Here you can see secondary amine, here tertiary amine, here also secondary amine. Here we have primary amine. So which is going to react? Okay, react with what we say CHCl3 plus 3KOH. This combination is simply carbylamine test of the primary amines. Okay, produces. So here, see for example, just take it here, isocyanate NC, along with we will get 3 moles of water. So simply isocyanate is produced. Okay, right. So primary amines only be detected with carbylamine test, and that's why fourth option is the correct answer. Got it? Next question. On electrolysis of diluted sulfuric acid using platinum electrode, the product obtained at anode will be. So what is the correct answer? Now try to find out the reaction here. At negative electrode, what happens? 2 protons by taking up 2 electrons produces H2 gas. Okay, now at anode electrode, 4 OH minus ions by releasing 4 electrons produces oxygen gas. Okay, so that's why on electrolysis of diluted sulfuric acid, the product obtained at anode will be, so at anode, it is anode, okay, at anode will be oxygen gas. Option 1 is the correct answer. Okay, right. The next question. What is the change in oxidation number of carbon in the following reaction? You can see carbon here with -4 because electronegativity of carbon is more than hydrogen, and where hydrogen with +1 oxidation state, that's why carbon with -4. Okay, and if you look at the product where chlorine is more electronegative than carbon, that's why each chlorine with -1 oxidation state, so the carbon with +4 oxidation state. So from -4 to +4 is the correct answer. Okay, right. The next question. Anisole on reaction with HI. The same kind of poll question is also given. Just check it. So on cleavage, anisole on cleavage. Now try to write anisole or draw the anisole here. So this is anisole. Now when the lone pair of electrons on oxygen attack on hydrogen of HI, okay, the I minus cleaves from it. Now it produces OCH3, here H. Okay, now what happens? So simply I minus attacks. So I minus attacks on methyl group and then simply produces phenol, okay, and methanol. So draw carefully. I am just drawing roughly, okay. CH3I. Now just check the options. Fourth option is the correct answer. Okay, right. And why I minus should be attack on methyl group, not on this benzyl carbon? Because benzene carbon. Because here you can see if the positive charge is going to be appeared on this benzene ring, which is mostly unstable, whereas this methyl carbon is stabilized with the here what we say hyperconjugations. Okay, so that's why I minus always try to attack on this methyl group. Next question. Measuring zeta potential is useful in determining which property of colloidal solution? So simply the stability of colloidal particles. Okay, so second option is the correct answer. So try to look at the concept of zeta potential. Now the next question, paper chromatography is an example of partition chromatography. So just try to know the basics of analytical chemistry, that is the chromatography techniques. Okay, right. The next question, match the following here. COH2. So COH2 is synthetic gas. Okay, and here bicarbonates of magnesium and calcium or temporary hardness causing agents. Okay, and B2H6, so simply what we say, an electron hardness of deficient hydride water. Okay, and next one, so H2O2, non-planar structure. So these are the correct one. So this is an electron deficient species or molecule. Okay, right. So this is about total 45 questions of NEET 2020 chemistry. So if you get any doubt or if you want to get any more information about related questions, so you can comment on this video. So I will explain, I will react to your comments, and thank you very much. Please share this video. I always tell you that we are going to work to make you score 100% of chemistry part. So please stay tuned and subscribe our channel. If you give more response, we work more for you. Thank you very much.